Imagine a quiet new teacher walking into a rowdy classroom, only to face a gang of ruthless bullies who think they rule the school. But what happens when they discover she's not just any teacher? She's a Taekwondo black belt with moves that could flip their world upside down? Buckle up for a jaw-dropping, action-packed story of courage, redemption, and epic showdowns that'll leave you cheering. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button now to join our community and catch every thrilling tale we bring you. Crestwood, New York, was a town frozen in time, its quaint streets and rolling hills hiding a restless undercurrent. At the heart of it stood Crestwood High, a red brick monument to teenage triumphs and turmoils, where reputations were forged in the crucible of hallways and homerooms. It was September 2025, and the school was abuzz with the arrival of Ms. Elena Martinez, a 28-year-old English teacher who seemed to glide into town on a whisper. With her sleek black ponytail, understated cardigans, and a smile that held secrets, Elena was an enigma. She moved with a quiet grace, her dark eyes scanning the world with a vigilance no one could place. Beneath her calm exterior lay a past, forged in fire, a third-degree Taekwondo black belt earned through years of relentless training, a legacy tied to a tragedy that had nearly broken her. Crestwood didn't know it yet, but Elena Martinez was about to turn their world upside down. Chibo, seniors of Crestwood High, were a battlefield of cliques and chaos, and no one ruled it more fiercely than the Pack. Led by Jake the Tank Harrison, a linebacker with shoulders like a bulldozer and a temper to match, they were a force of nature. Jake's crew was a study in contrasts. Tyler Reed, the wiry instigator with a serpent's tongue, Marcus Kane, a hulking giant who spoke little but hit hard, Liam Carter, the golden boy charmer whose smile masked a cruel streak, and Ethan Wells, the quiet genius whose calculating eyes missed nothing. Together, they'd terrorized the school for years. Freshmen cowered, teachers tiptoed, and a substitute the previous year had fled in tears after a week of their pranks. To the Pack, Elena was a gift-wrapped target, a chance to cement their legend before graduation. Elena's first day in room 204 was like walking into a lion's den. The bell rang, and the seniors slouched in, their eyes glinting with challenge. Jake sprawled at the back, his boots propped on a desk, tossing a crumpled paper ball between calloused hands. "Yo, teach!" he called, his voice a low growl that silenced the room. "Hope you brought your game face." Snickers erupted. Elena stood at the front, her posture perfect, her expression unreadable. She introduced herself, her voice clear as a bell, and launched into a lesson on The Great Gatsby, weaving themes of ambition and betrayal with a passion that caught the room off guard. Jake wasn't having it. He flung the paper ball at her, head aiming to rattle her. In a blur, Elena's hand shot up, snatching it mid-air without breaking her sentence. "Nice aim," she said, tossing it back with a flick of her wrist. The class froze. Jake's smirk faltered, but he leaned back, muttering, "Lucky shot." The Pack didn't back down. Over the next week, they unleashed a barrage of pranks. Tyler slipped a whoopee cushion onto her chair, only for Elena to sidestep it, leaving him red-faced when it deflated under a textbook. Marcus accidentally knocked her books off the desk, but she caught them with a speed that made his jaw drop. Liam tried his charm, leaning forward with a grin. "Ms. M, you ever lighten up?" he purred. Elena's response was a dry, "Lighten up on the distractions, Liam." Ethan watched from the back, his notebook filled with doodles of chess moves, his mind turning. The other students noticed things too. Elena's reflexes were uncanny, her movements almost too precise. During a chaotic fire drill, when a freshman tripped in the crowded hall, Elena caught him with one arm, steadying him without a flicker of effort. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Did you see that? She's not normal." Elena's past was a locked vault, one she guarded fiercely. Born on Chicago's South Side, she'd grown up in her father's dojo, where Juan Martinez, a Taekwondo national champion, molded her into a warrior. From age 5, she'd trained under his watchful eye, her kicks and forms a dance of discipline. Juan was her hero, his laughter filling the dojo as he taught her to channel anger into focus. But at 19, a drunk driver stole him from her. A rainy night, a screech of tires, a collision that left Elena screaming into the void. Grief shattered her. She quit competing, packed away her black belt, and left the dojo behind. Teaching was her lifeline, a way to honor her father's love of guiding others. Crestwood was meant to be her fresh start, a quiet town where she could rebuild. But the pack had other plans. By the second week, their pranks grew darker. They scrawled crude insults on her whiteboard, "Ponytail's gonna cry," and swapped her lesson plans with fake ones filled with gibberish. Elena never snapped. She erased the insults, rewrote her plans, and turned their disruptions into teachable moments. When Tyler tried to derail a discussion on Gatsby with a crude joke, she pivoted, asking, "Is that bravado, Tyler, or just insecurity talking?" The class laughed, and Tyler's face burned. But Jake wasn't amused. Elena's calm was a challenge to his reign, and he hated losing. He rallied the pack for their biggest move yet, the fall talent show, a Crestwood tradition that drew the entire town. It was the perfect stage to break her. Tyler spread a rumor that Elena was planning a lame poetry reading, while Marcus and Liam sabotaged the stage, loosening bolts to make it wobble, rigging the microphone to screech, and planting water balloons under the floorboards to burst mid-performance. "She'll be a soaking, screaming mess," Jake sneered, his eyes glinting with malice. The pack spent days planning, their laughter echoing in the locker room. They didn't know Elena had overheard their whispers in the hall. She wasn't planning poetry. In Chicago, Taekwondo had been her shield against the world's chaos. After her father's death, she'd vowed never to perform again. But the pack's cruelty stirred something deep. A need to show them strength wasn't about destruction. She signed up for the talent show, keeping her act a secret. The night of the show arrived, and the gymnasium was a sea of faces. Parents, students, townsfolk packed onto bleachers, the air thick with excitement. The pack sat front row, smirking like wolves circling prey. When Eleanor's name was announced, the crowd hushed. She stepped onto the stage, not in her usual cardigan, but in a sleek, black dobok, her black belt tied tight around her waist. A gasp rippled through the audience. Jake's smirk vanished. Tyler leaned forward, whispering, "What the hell?" Then the music hit, a thundering remix of Korean drums pulsing like a heartbeat. Elena launched into her Taekwondo demonstration, her body a blur of power and precision. She flowed through forms, her kicks slicing the air with lethal grace. A side kick, a roundhouse, a spinning hook that seemed to defy physics. The stage creaked under her steps, the loosened bolts doing their work. But Elena adapted, using the wobble to propel her into a 540-degree tornado kick that drew gasps. The water balloons burst, spraying water across the stage, but she dodged with a backflip, landing in a fighting stance, her eyes blazing. The crowd roared, leaping to their feet. The pack's jaws dropped, their prank crumbling before their eyes. Halfway through, Elena grabbed the microphone, which miraculously didn't screech. "This isn't just a performance," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "It's a lesson. Strength isn't about tearing others down. It's about rising above and lifting others with you." She beckoned to the wings, and out stepped Sarah Miller, a freshman who'd been the pack's favorite punching bag. Tripped in hallways, mocked in class. Her lunch tray accidentally spilled. Sarah, pale and trembling, wore a white dobok, her beginner's belt knotted tightly. The crowd murmured. Jake's face twisted with rage. Elena and Sarah began a synchronized routine, their movements a mirror of discipline and trust. Sarah's kicks were hesitant but precise, guided by Elena's steady presence. They moved as one, their forms weaving a story of resilience. When Sarah landed a high roundhouse kick, the gym erupted in applause. Elena ended the performance by stacking 6 wooden boards. With a single spinning heel kick, she shattered them, the crack echoing like a gunshot. The audience surged to their feet, cheering wildly. The pack slunk lower, their power evaporating in the face of Elena's triumph. But the story didn't end there. The next day, Elena announced a Taekwondo club open to anyone willing to learn. To everyone's shock, Ethan signed up. The quietest of the pack, he'd been wrestling with his role in their cruelty, his sharp mind at odds with Jake's brute force. Elena's performance had cracked something open in him, a hunger for purpose. Under her guidance, he thrived, his analytical brain mastering forms with a precision that surprised even her. Sarah joined too, her shy demeanor giving way to confidence. The club became a sanctuary, drawing misfits, athletes, and dreamers. Jake, however, was a volcano ready to erupt. The talent show had humiliated him, and he couldn't let it go. He rallied Tyler and Liam for revenge, plotting to sabotage the club. One night, they snuck into the gym, armed with spray paint and crowbars, ready to trash the equipment, mats, pads, boards. But Elena was there, practicing alone under the flickering lights, her shadow dancing across the floor. When she caught them, Jake laughed, his voice dripping with defiance. "You think you're tough, Teach?" he sneered, stepping closer. Elena didn't flinch. "Tough enough," she said, holding up a wooden board. "Break it!" Jake swung, his fist slamming into the board. It didn't budge. His knuckles reddened, pain shooting up his arm. Elena stepped forward, her eyes locked on his. With a casual side kick, she splintered the board, the pieces clattering to the floor. She handed him another. "Again, but focus this time." Her calm wasn't mocking. It was a challenge, a lifeline. Jake hesitated, his bravado cracking. For the first time, he saw her not as a target, but as someone who saw him. Over the next months, Crestwood High began to shift. The Taekwondo club grew, its members finding strength in discipline. Marcus, dragged along by Jake, joined reluctantly, but found solace in the rhythm of training. Tyler and Liam held out, their pranks growing desperate as their influence faded. Elena's classes became a haven, her lessons blending literature with life, courage in Gatsby, justice in To Kill a Mockingbird, redemption in The Catcher in the Rye. She didn't just teach, she transformed. Sarah, once a ghost in the hallways, walked taller, her kicks now confident, her voice steady. But the biggest twist came at the end of year assembly. The gym was packed again, the air electric with anticipation. Elena took the stage, her dobok replaced by her usual cardigan, but her presence no less commanding. She spoke of her father, Juan Martinez, whose dojo had been a beacon for kids lost to anger or fear. His death in a car accident had shattered her, she admitted, her voice breaking for the first time. She'd run from his legacy, but Crestwood had brought her back. "This club," she said, "is his dream reborn." She announced a scholarship for a national Taekwondo camp, naming Sarah as the first recipient. The crowd roared, but Eleanor wasn't done. She called Jake to the stage. The gym fell silent. Jake, his face a mask of conflict, walked up. Elena handed him a board. "You've got this," she said quietly. The crowd held its breath. Jake focused, his body tense, and struck. The board splintered. The applause was deafening. Jake, the former king of the pack, stood taller, his eyes shining with something new, pride. By June, Crestwood High was unrecognizable. The pack was no more, its members scattered or changed. Ethan excelled in the club, his mind as sharp as his kicks. Marcus found peace in training, his fists no longer weapons. Tyler and Liam faded into the background, their power gone. Elena wasn't just a teacher, she was a legend, her black belt a symbol of strength that didn't destroy, but rebuilt. She'd come to Crestwood seeking a fresh start, but she'd given the town something greater, a new beginning.